Just a random thought that I felt was worth sharing. I'm listening to a podcast, an economics podcast from a gentleman by the name of Gary Stevens. I definitely recommend him. And he referenced sort of a historical point that I thought was very relevant to modern times. You know, the debate has come up a few times over the last number of years about, taxpayer funded or publicly funded higher education. And I want to be abundantly clear that, I personally feel that if we were going to do anything like that, it should have an equivalent level of funding and support for trade schools, because I myself work in the construction trades and do not have a college degree. The historical fact was that back during dynastic China, the Chinese calligraphy, that in order to acquire any job or position of standing or influence, it was required that you demonstrate the ability to accurately produce and paint the Chinese calligraphy. This had an interesting side effect, which is that the only people who could do that were people who came from families of money, because it required thousands or hundreds of hours of schooling to be able to do this, which meant that having any sort of influence or status within the society that pathway was basically closed to anybody who came from humble or working class backgrounds. And we have a similar situation in America today, where the vast majority of people who attain college degrees and are able to find themselves on a pathway to political or social or economic influence overwhelmingly come from families of means. It largely excludes people from more humble and working class backgrounds. And the idea behind public education funding through college would change that, because then you would have a larger number of people coming from more humble working class backgrounds that knows what the struggle is to be a working class American, who would be on a pathway to find themselves in the halls of power and influence and economics and public policy in this country. And it's just something to think about the next time the subject of publicly funded education comes up. It's not just about how come they get something that we don't, or I don't think there's value in that. The value in that is that people that you grew up next to, your friends, your family members, it opens a pathway for them to be the people who represent us in our politics and in business and in economics. And just something to consider and think about. That's all. Y'all have a good day.